far, we dealt with a lot of different trigonometric functions. Sometimes we need to simplify trig statements. Sometimes we use them in equations, and some other times for the sake of simplifying those statements. So the goal is to introduce new methods to simplify trig expressions. The very first formula is sum of angles. Very well. So wherever we see sine of alpha plus beta, we can write this in expanded form as sine alpha times cosine beta plus, now you have sine beta times cosine alpha. So this is the sum of angles. If you have alpha and beta as two angles, and if you on the left-hand side have sine of alpha plus beta, you can write it in expanded form as sine alpha times cosine beta plus sine beta times cosine alpha. So this is expanded form. Okay, give us an example. Well, think about the following case example. Suppose I ask you to find the following. Find sine of 75 degrees. Okay, very well, sine of 75 degrees. How should I handle this? 75 degrees. 75 degrees from algebra. 75 can be written as, well, 30 plus 45. Right. So we divide up 75 into the sum of two known angles. This is going to be my, for example, alpha, and this guy, let me use a different color. 45 degrees is going to be my beta. Okay, very well. So sine of 75 degrees can be written as sine of 30 degrees plus 45 degrees. I have a nice formula. This formula says if I have sine of alpha plus beta, I can write it in expanded form this way. So what happens here is that you have your 30 degrees as your alpha. So let us use a different color for this. 30 degrees plus beta, which is 45 degrees, right? Very good. So let us follow the formula. This guy is equal to sine of 30 degrees multiplied by cosine of 45 degrees plus, okay, we have addition, sine of 45 degrees times cosine of 30 degrees, which we already know how to calculate these. These are the things that we learned at the beginning of the course using the unit circle. So here you have sine of 30 degrees. Okay, sine of 30 degrees. 30 degrees is pi over 6, which is equal to a half. Then you have cosine of 45 degrees, which is square root of 2 divided by 2 plus sine of 45 degrees, square root of 2 divided by 2 times cosine of 30 degrees or cosine of pi over 6, which is square root of 3 divided by 2. Now, basic algebra, you multiply the numerators, get square root of 2 divided by, you multiply the denominators, 4 plus. You multiply square root of 2 and square root of 3, which gives you square root of 6 divided by 4. Here you can write this as square root of 2 plus square root of 6 divided by 4. You can leave it as it is, or you can simplify this more using your calculator. So if you use your calculator, you can approximate this by approximation, or you can just leave it as it is. So here you have square root of 2, square root of 2 plus square root of 6, and then divide this guy by 4. Approximately, it gives you about 1. So approximately, it is 0.97. So both of these are acceptable answers. So either leave it as square root of 2 plus square root of 6 divided by 2, or use your calculator, which is about 0.97 or 1. So this is our first formula, sine of alpha plus beta. Now let us introduce sine of alpha minus beta. The second formula, here you have the difference between two angles. If you have sine of alpha minus beta, you can write it as sine of alpha cosine beta. Now we have subtraction minus sine beta times cosine alpha. Okay, a very nice example here is if I ask you to find, evaluate sine of 15 degrees. What is 15 degrees? Okay, very good. From algebra, we know that 15 can be written as 45 minus 30. Very good. It wasn't that hard. So 45 is going to be your alpha, and 30 is going to be your beta. Very well. So let's see. Here we have sine of 15 degrees, which can be written as sine of 45 degrees minus 30 degrees. Very well. Okay. So I have 45 as my alpha, and I have 30 as my beta. Let's follow the formula. Which formula to use? Here we have subtraction between two angles. So this guy is going to be sine of 45 degrees times cosine of 30 degrees. 30 degrees minus sine of 30 degrees times cosine of 45 degrees. Ooh, that's easy. I already know how to deal with these angles. So remember that sine of 45 degrees is square root of 2 divided by 2. Cosine of 30 degrees is square root of 3 divided by 2 minus sine of 30 degrees is a half times cosine of 45 degrees, which is square root of 2 divided by 2. So between multiplication and subtraction, multiplication comes first. So you're going to get square root of 6 divided by 4 minus square root of 2 divided by 4. If you take the common denominator, get square root of 6 minus square root of 2. Well, let us do the computation. if we do the subtraction here, square root of 6 minus square root of 2, it gives us 1.04. And let us divide this by 4. It gives us 12.26, approximately 0.26. So both of these are acceptable answers. You can leave it as it is, or you can just use your calculator to approximate the number